Not much of a report, it has to be said. The email says, I'm providing the following information based on our local systems for January: 1 road-related offence, 1 vulnerable person assessment, and 1 fraud.
Great.
QED. That's as much as I have.
Right, okay. Anything from Councillor Parkinson?
No.
Right. Finance, sir?
Yeah. I've circulated the monthly statement and also the reserves balance. Obviously, we're getting towards, well, 3/4 of the way through the year, so there are some quite big sums building up in the year. Feel free to ask me questions if you have any about those accounts. One aspect I would draw attention to is I've had now the first 2 gas bills for the village hall since the end of the contract we've had for 3 years and the start of a 1-year fixed rate contract, and the first bill was for £549 and the second bill was £649, which has gone up incredibly, obviously.
And what periods are those, Jack? What was the 5?
I was just trying to check, because I mentioned the from the 10th October, once you start to look at these bills, they get complicated. From the 10th of October to the 6th of February, it says it's £913.88, for which £300 was reduced by the government subsidy, I guess. So that's 618. Then there's VAT on top of that, so that makes the 649, which is the bill I've just had. And then we've already paid 549 for the previous period, which I guess was November. I can't admit, November through to October.
Do you have the comparatives for
I haven't brought both bills, I've only brought the latest one.
Well, that's okay.
So but it's very substantial.
So for the 10th of October to the 6th of February, we're looking at 649.
But that's subsidised.
That's subsidised.
Yeah, so it was originally 91388, then 300, 649, including
649 including that, yeah. It's like
Do you have?
Otherwise, it would have been 913.
lower rate of tax.
Do you have, by any chance, the bill for this time last year?
This time last year, January was £33 odd, February was £62 something.
Right.
I mean, we have to take into account it's been a bit colder and we've had quite a lot of meetings.
It's been a lot colder.
Not 10 times.
We're looking at it's about £230 a month.
Yeah, but I think we have had some exceptional extra meetings and things, which does add to it.
I think it just still illustrates the huge
the general
additional
sort of upraising of costs. Yeah.
Well, that's out of our hands. It's an old coal building.
Okay. New payments.
Yeah, I circulated the schedule. There's just one small addition. The cleaner had to buy a new mop, so it's an extra £9 on per bill.
Okay.
I've got a receipt here for you I'll sort that out afterwards. But that's for a new set of padlocks for the litter picking equipment. One of them has completely disappeared, so I've replaced that. The other one I oiled and seems to be working, so I've got a reserve one just in case. But I've basically, I don't know where it's basically one that's just completely missing, so I don't know where that's gone. But I'll sort that out. We can put it through for next week.
So can I have an approval for the payments and the authorisation,
happy?
please?
Yeah. Sarah, Chris, Alison, Chris. Right. 7.3, the village signs. Says in the report they've been ordered, but we're still in the course of just agreeing the artwork. I've got some suggested 3 alternatives with me, so we're still talking about that. But independently of that, the community group have offered to pay for those items, which
which would bring about a saving on the parish council accounts for the current year. So the community group have offered a donation, and therefore members are asked if they wish to accept that.
Would you all be happy accepting? Andrew?
I think it's worth mentioning what it is that is being offered. The sum of money.
I've said that the costs are approximately 1,100, 1,200 tonight. So.
1,100, yeah.
And I think, as a council, we should welcome it and thank them very much.
Yeah, definitely.
So, is everybody in agreement then? Yeah.
Yes.
Right, brilliant.
Right, yes.
On that one. Planning matters.
Planning matters. Again, I've circulated the schedule. It's not a lot. Nothing's changed. I think there's been one householder application submitted. The application at one of the orchards has been approved. I think is the only change from the previous schedule. And the dubbed out the licensing application at Cheshire Showgrounds, a separate item on the agenda.
Anyone got any comments?
The clerk sent a copy or a note to the residents in that area who are interested in that dubbed out, so that they get to know that there is no decision made.
Yeah, and there's only one dwelling that. Yeah.
Because they came specifically asked, didn't they? So I think it's worth just you don't have to send it, just that it's now been decided and there is a thing to look at on the website.
Yep.
Anything else, Chris? You got anything on planning?
You just remind me, Jack, what's that last one that's outstanding? The proposed replacement garage and outbuilding, not yet determined. Last application on there.
Oh, that's circulated around just before Christmas. It's. Oh, sorry, the address isn't on. It's. Where's the clue? It's not the Marpools.
Sorry, I'll look at that later.
It's one of the farmhouse contractors. Sorry, I missed that.
It is. It's the change of. Well, not the change.
Is it the one on School Lane?
Yeah.
It's one of School Lane
of existing buildings.
No, they've had one application for the reuse of an existing building, and this is a separate one for additional kind of outbuildings, but in the middle of a kind of group of buildings.
You mean Hall Lane, do you? Or School Lane?
Hall Lane.
Hall Lane.
No, you might not actually. It might be School Lane.
Not brought up.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. Okay.
But it's a clue.
Yeah.
It's effectively asking Cheshire East, do they need planning permission for these buildings?
Yes, okay.
It's not a planning application.
And at the last point, 4th of August 2022, we referenced that Cheshire East report. The matter has been discussed with the council's legal department. Well, they haven't said even which year, but we know for certain it was last year. Is there any update?
There is no update. No.
Are we still sending them and do we get any response at all?
No.
No.
But that's helpful, isn't it,
at
in
least
a
we
way?
know.
Because it's providing evidence that we're not getting responses from Cheshire East.
Yeah. Sarah?
Sad that we have to do that.
Anyone else on that? No. Okay. Let's jump to you again. CEC.
The Cheshire East Local Plan is finally fully adopted in its full form after God knows how many years of going through public inquiries. The local plan is meant to cover the period to 2030. As is always the case, as soon as the local authority finishes a local plan, it's probably already started work on reviewing it for extending it to 2040 or whatever. But as it stands, they've not published any documents in relation to that. So this plan is the one that they will use for determining planning applications now for the next few years.
That was made clear at the last local plan, the Neighbourhood Plan meeting.
Continue.
8.3. As a consequence of that, it brings back into focus Spinks Lane and the unauthorised. I think it is unlawful use now because there's a confirmed enforcement notice. Use of the land at Spinks Lane as a site for travellers. And the reason that Cheshire East have given in recent years for not pursuing that problem is that we were waiting for the local plan to identify possible alternative locations for travellers to be relocated. now that the plan is adopted, that excuse falls away, or that reason falls away. So I wonder whether council would want me to write to Cheshire East to awaken their interest in Spinks Lane and recommence action.
Could we involve Esther McVeigh as well? I think.
Well, I think with anything like this, what we seem to be doing with Spinks Lane is whenever we write to one, we write to all. And I think we just keep that going, just copy everything. Also, can we ask...
I was just wondering whether, rather than writing, we should actually be asking for
We'll do both.
I think we need to write
doesn't waste another 6 months.
Yeah, no, but we'll do both.
But if we write and request, can we copy Kate Parkinson as well? Because obviously she's vested interest.
I think this is now 13, 14 years.
Yep. So Esther McVeigh, Kate Parkinson, Cheshire Council. Is there anyone else you think?
Could we request this before the local elections?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's.
Otherwise,
It will, because
it goes into like we did last time.
It's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
It can be requested.
Anyone else we could throw in terms of governance? I'm serious. Why not? No, that's throwing.
Cabinet office.
Is there no use to get any influence from Motley Council, because obviously they've had a very similar situation, and I know theirs is slightly different, but
Theirs is still ongoing.
Theirs is still ongoing.
They're in exactly the same long-term position. You can have a decision that goes in a certain way, but unless the enforcement.
But he's played Jackie's right.
Worth just including of the local concern as well, just as a matter of course. We've not done it for a bit, so.
Can you tell me who the minister is?
collaboration.
They're just having a
The legislation.
Sorry,
After today.
That's the consistent factor.
Housing and local government.
I'm just saying, there's trying to collaborate, because there's so many consisting trends, isn't there? So
I think.
well, we could copy Mobley in and just say this is where we are with it. We thought you'd be interested,
Yes.
and that way
They know that other people are.
Yeah.
banging their heads against a brick wall. Neighbourhood plan.
We're appended to the group meeting. We're appended to the papers for this thing. And subsequent to that, the parish Jack reminded me that the group already had permission to apply for grant funding from locality, which we made by the skin of our teeth, to cover consultant fees for Lucy Hughes from Cheshire Community Action, who's at the point where she can use the evidence gathered so far from the initial survey to start developing our emerging policies. And I received late last night her first draft of our emerging policies. Yay! Great. I haven't even had time to read it myself. And our further actions and whatever other promotional activities we need to set up for the money from locality. Of course, there's no guarantee the application will be successful, but anyway. Now that the local plan's been adopted by Cheshire East, which was of course a factor in our delays along with COVID and everything else, we are moving along with the neighbourhood plan at the usual rate. Some take 10 years or more.
I think you actually
Lucy's quite happy.
you asked
Lucy
about the timescales.
She's very happy.
Yeah, and she says
we're faster than most. It's quite amazing. I heard in the public forum that somebody asked about the residents and new persons to take the places on the working group, and part of our meeting on the 24th of January addressed that very item to redress the balance between resident and parish council members, and it was agreed to make direct approaches, and I do believe that some direct approaches have been made. I'm afraid I don't know the outcome of those direct approaches.
I mean, the other thing to say, I suppose, is that whilst we're making direct approaches, we don't know everybody who's interested. So if there's anyone who is interested, if they could.
Well, it'll also be in public press, particularly
No, I know, but I mean, if they could contact you.
Is it on our website, Jack, about wanting new people? Oh, well, let's put it on.
Yeah. So if we can get.
Because we've not set a date, but we'd just like some people, some residents would be great.
Right.
So as soon as, just to finish very briefly, the plan, I'll forward it to you. Literally, she sent it to me yesterday. It's there. It looks like that so far. And then there's a shed load more questions. And then our next meeting is going to be a Q&A for the whole village to attend. or residents to attend, with Gavin as our chair on the 14th of March, 7 o'clock here.
And he's an independent resident.
He's a resident, he's our only resident at the moment, but he's making direct approaches to people, so
Yeah.
and we'd like anybody else as well. Thanks.
Any comments on that from any of the council? Chris? Sarah?
That's fine.
Sarah? Andrew?
No.
Thank you.